I'm not going to tell you. We're playing a game.
Oh, we're guessing.
We're playing a game. This is going to be fun, Billy.
Biggest tourist cities in the world.
I think we'd have got
It's just the fact that it wasn't a crocodile is the reason it made news.
Welcome to the Billy and Andrei show.
My name is Billy.
Oh, shut up.
I can't let you do a clean intro, dude. It just wouldn't be right. My name is Billy. This man's name is Andrei. How are you doing, my friend?
You had to go in there. Oh, you ruined everything. No,
I've said similar things have been said about people's mums. Anyway. So this is our first episode back after a week of being away.
Yeah, after my holidays. Yay.
After Andrei here went on holiday, so I couldn't get into his house. Therefore, we could not do the podcast. That's the only reason.
You would have recorded by yourself.
Yeah. The only reason I have you here is because it's your house. So.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, like, I did tell you to watch after my cat.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did.
That one time, yeah. One time when I couldn't record.
Yeah, because we were drunk. Anyway, so as we said, welcome back after missing a whole week of recording. So,
and why have we missed a whole week of recording? Andrei, why don't you tell the lovely audience why?
You're gonna put me on the spot.
I want you to talk about where you've been, man, because it's interesting.
So what happened was I had a whole thing about Jean Nouvel, a whole beautiful script, and then it got deleted.
Yeah.
And it was horrible because we tried to record it, me on the fly. I cannot do under pressure, so...
I think you did really well. I think you did fine.
Well, we'll probably put it out there at some point, being like, this is the one that didn't get shipped out.
Yeah.
The one that got recorded and never sent out. And we'll see. At one point, I have to look out over it again and delete 90% of it. And leave just the intro and the outro, and that's it.
But for the record, people, don't put your important podcast script in a notepad file which you don't know if you can open it on any other device.
Okay, Billy. We make mistakes. We learn from them. All right? That's why I'm using Google Drive.
Yay!
And it works really well, so... Hey-ho. So coming back from Barcelona.
Yeah, you've been to Barcelona, a wonderful
for a lovely
city.
7 days in Barcelona.
How was it?
It was great. It was really nice. I walked a minimum of 25,000 steps every single day, so it felt like working every single day. So I did not rest. Thank God I had a day of brief before going back to work, being like, at least I have one day that I don't have to walk 20,000 steps, which was great.
Yeah, except you had to make rice and butter for your poor, dying
okay,
partner.
don't go there. We said no negatives. No negatives.
We're trying to stay positive on this podcast.
It's a positive podcast when we don't record about Donald Trump. So I was thinking, coming back, I'm like, Billy, let's just talk about Barcelona because it's such a great city. It has so much history. It has so many things we can talk about. So I kind of put a whole sort of script, which was more me looking up stuff about Barcelona and getting... I'm not going to get a lot of dates in and stuff like that. That's
we're not
boring.
We're not a boring history podcast.
Yeah, we don't want a boring history. There's so many other boring history podcasts. If you literally want to just listen to one dude read off of a massive script and keep on going, I can give you suggestions. Just ask me in the comments. Talking about the comments, so we're not running out of ideas because we still have a lot of ideas, but if you want to give us suggestions, and it will also help us, get more views, leave us a comment with what silly things you want us to talk about.
Like for the algorithm, comment for the algorithm, and also give us suggestions about stuff you'd like to hear us talk about.
Yeah, because we
lovely, chocolatey radio voices.
We are more than happy to have 3 pints and talk about them.
Today we're only coming in on 1.5.
1.5, right? Just 1.5.
It's a nice chill afternoon.
Oh, she's gonna be upset with me now because he said 1.5. I told her I'm only gonna have one. There you go. Thanks, Billy. I'm sleeping on the couch again.
Not that has ever happened to us where we go to the pub and say, we're only going for one, and then come out with more than one.
Yeah, true.
That's a very non-universal experience.
Pretty much. So let's start with a bit of history. We start with a bit of boring history, and then I'm going to talk about Sagrada Familia, which is the most amazing structure I ever seen in my life. If you came in and said, "Oh, Andrei is not going to talk about architecture in this one," you are wrong. So welcome and listen to me talking about architecture later. Yay!
Okay, so hit us with the history of Barcelona.
Well, it's not a full history. It's not a lot of dates. It's super condensed down because
basic bitch.
I want to keep this under an hour because Billy.
Yeah.
So first of all, Barcelona, it's in south of Spain. It's basically part of Catalonia, which is a kingdom within Spain, the same you'll have Wales, Scotland, or Northern Ireland. They're not happy being part of Spain.
No,
to
they
be
are
completely
not.
honest. They're trying to do a referendum and split away from Spain because they're feeling like they're being neglected. They have their own language, which is
Catalan.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's you find signs in Barcelona in both languages. They look exactly the same to me. Because I'm not Spanish, right? So I don't speak. Yeah, so I don't speak Spanish and I don't read Spanish, but to me it looks exactly the same. But funny enough, if you use a Google Lens on them, it tells you one is Catalan and one is Spanish.
Oh, that's handy.
Which is like you're like, oh, well, it's actually a difference. But not to the common human like myself, but to them that they know it. We don't know it, but they know it.
Yeah, I had a hard time when I was there figuring out which bit was Spanish and which bit was Catalan as well.
But sort of looks the same.
Kind of, but the accents they use are different, and it's like...
Definitely. So I always, every single time we went somewhere, I used to say gracias and merci at the same time, because they use the terminology for thank you as merci, the same as the French and Romanians use the same.
How do they use that in Romanian as well?
Yeah, because...
I did not know that.
Well, in Romanian history is, they shorten it from mulțumesc. They said merci, and also it sounded fancy back in the 1500s because they're like, oh, we sound like the French. So that's why we use it. I think they're probably a little bit more nuanced to it.
Did the Romanian nobility also like wear the giant powdered wigs and dress like the
I'm
French?
pretty sure they did, because part of Romanian history, Bucharest used to be called the Little Paris, not anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a whole cultural thing where a lot of nobility and architecture. No, never mind.
Just skip by.
Yeah. Never mind. Cool. Barcelona.
So
right?
Barcelona, yes.
So the first human settlement within Barcelona was during the Neolithic time.
Uh-huh.
That's
Stone Age.
That's a hard word to
I
say.
know. You could have just said Stone Age, man.
No, it's actually not Stone Age. So the first settlement was by the Romans, obviously. So it was a Roman settlement, and it was called the colony of Barcino, which I probably butchered that. And in the 1st century BC, that's like the first time it was recorded as being a settlement. 200 for like about 200 years, Barcelona was under Muslim. We're just moving through years.
Yeah. Like we can't talk about the Moor Empire. That's just like too long.
That's way too much. We don't talk about the Roman Empire. About for 200 years, Barcelona was under Muslim rule until a Christian reconquered the whole territory.
The Reconquista.
The whole thing was the Muslim went all the way to up north of Spain, and then they turned around for some reason. They're like, oh, there's this little village in the mountains, and then they just came back and just took everything back from them.
It took a long time.
It did take a long time, but the thing is, they were under the Muslims, and Muslim gave up right at the end, and then they conquered everything else. Because if you look at it, you're like, if they would have pushed a little bit harder, they would have been a Muslim country.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Interesting alternate history videos out there.
It's a great, like, there's probably a lot of really interesting what happened there and why they actually turned around, and there's probably something behind it.
I know for a fact that the Muslim Empire had a lot of influence on the music of Spain. Like, the Muslim Empire invented the guitar. People don't talk about that very much.
Yeah, no. But if you go down that way, the Middle East was the most cultured and the most science-focused part of the world, and then look at it now.
And then the Mongols happened.
Yeah. Well, not just the Mongols. They also,
a whole bunch of stuff.
It's a whole end religion, and we don't go down that world.
Saladin,
We are not going down that world, because it's a long ass conversation.
It's a long conversation.
So before Spain being Spain and Barcelona being part of Spain, there were two kingdoms, which was the Crown of Aragon, which was having Catalonia, and there was the Kingdom of Spain, which had Spain.
You may recognize the name Aragon from Henry VIII's first wife.
Oh, because she was from Aragon.
Because she was from
Aragon. Because it was still Aragon at that point.
Yeah, there was an alliance with one of the Spanish kingdoms that caused their marriage, which didn't end well. I didn't
put this into my sort of prospect, but if I remember from history correctly, the only reason Spain and Catalonia went together is because Spain had a queen, Catalonia had a king, and they just married and it became one kingdom.
Basically,
if I remember it correctly, it's probably more to it.
A lot of stuff happened like that. Yeah,
exactly. But putting it down, it's like that was what happened, and they became one kingdom. From the 15th, 18th century, Barcelona entered a period of decline, while it struggled to maintain its economic and political independence. This struggle ended in 1714. I said I'm not going to say years, but I wrote down years, so
We're getting through it.
When the city fell to the Bourbon troops, which are French troops.
Yes.
So what happened?
Not a chocolate biscuit.
Yeah, not the chocolate. It's a beautiful chocolate biscuit.
It is a very beautiful biscuit. But it's weird how, like, if you're a famous, like, leader of, you know, it could be like a culture, like, or it could be like you were a famous revolutionary, and you end up getting named after, like, you end up with a biscuit named after you.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, great.
Like Bourbon, Garibaldi, like lots of different biscuits were named after revolutionaries for some reason, and I don't understand why.
It works, right? So
I'm sure there was some sort of Richard T. who.
I don't think it was a Richard T.
Maybe not, but Rich T. biscuits must be named after something. Anyway, carry on.
You know,
distracting.
The UK is one of the few UK, America, and all the English-speaking countries are the only countries that call tea. It's actually called chai.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You guys just had to change the name of it, like pineapple. You guys changed the name from ananas to pineapple. Everybody else calls it ananas. You guys decided to call it pineapple.
Because we can.
Which is
because
silly.
We have more guns than you.
But the thing is, the rest of the world still calls it ananas.
Yeah. It's like a dividing line of who got conquered by who.
No, it's not that. If you look, even the Germans call it ananas.
Really?
Okay, so if in Germany calls it ananas, you're kind of in the wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. I am just saying.
Are you saying that we should listen to what the Germans have to say?
No, let's not go down that road.
Barcelona, carry on.
We're trying to get to the history of Barcelona, like a quick, brief history of Barcelona. Okay.
Yeah, we're only a few minutes in. Don't worry.
Are we just a few minutes in?
Yeah.
Am I rushing? Why am I rushing?
No, you're Romanian. Yeah,
it's gonna be one of those episodes.
It is.
Okay.
I'm in that mood.
So the Bourbon troops, which are the French troops, took over the Catalonia region. So what happened was they took over Barcelona and the whole civil war. Oh, I didn't mention it was a civil war.
There was a civil war.
Yeah. A lot of countries put in their troops. A lot of countries that had kings and queens that are related with other kings and queens put their troops in there.
Yeah.
So that was the whole point of it. So that's how you got French troops in Spain.
Yeah. To quote a not boring history podcast, the Lions Led by Donkey podcast, basically most of European history is a bunch of inbred mutants fighting over shit.
Which is pretty
that's pretty true.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what it is.
That's all the European royal history, just inbreds fighting.
Yeah. Which is fun. It should have been in Game of Thrones. It was.
Oh yeah.
It was in Game of Thrones.
I'm sure it had a much better ending though.
Yeah. No, it didn't.
I know.
Have you seen the ending of Game of Thrones?
Yeah. It's terrible. I'm just saying, European colonial powers probably had a much better ending, except it didn't. It was World War I. Yeah, anyway, moving on.
So Bourbon troops took over Barcelona, and that's when they started suppressing the Catalanians' rights and all of that. And then Catalonia became part of Spain and a whole thing. Moving in forwards, now Barcelona. You find Barcelona as a cultural capital of Spain. It's technically the capital of Catalan, and stupid Andrei, for some reason, before we went to Barcelona, I always thought Barcelona was the capital of Spain, which is not. It's Madrid.
No, it's Madrid.
But I always thought that was a thing, and I never corrected myself. I never informed myself. I went into that city like a dumbass, and I feel like I came out a little bit smarter.
Oh, good.
Because, history and being exposed to everything, it was absolutely... So if you never went out of your own country, go see a different country.
Yeah, do it.
It changes your vision on everything. It's the greatest thing.
It is. Traveling around, especially Europe, because there's so many different styles in Europe. Just wandering.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like quite easy to travel around, you just get a bus from one country to the next. Most of the sane countries are still in the EU, so you can get around without a passport. Mostly,
only if you're not English.
Thank you.
So one of the biggest influences on Barcelona was Antonio Gaudí. I'm not sure if I say it. It's either Gaudí. I'm probably saying it wrong. I probably said it wrong for the last.
For us, it was Gaudi, but
Gaudi, yeah.
That's a very English pronunciation of something. You can just tell,
So if you never heard about Antoni Gaudi, you probably heard about one of his biggest creations. He started working on this when he was 31, and he worked till his last day when he was 71.
Oof.
So that's 40
years.
That's 40 years he worked on the same project, which he has not seen built.
No,
because when he died at 71, part of the structure, which was the Sagra Familia, was literally just the cellar built.
Yeah,
which is it's called the catacombs, but I said the cellar because it sounds more dramatic.
It's foundations,
What wasn't foundation? So they used to use the catacombs as a church when he's seen it finished, and then they started building the pillars, and then he got run over by a tram.
By a tram.
Jesus. So that's how his life ended. The man is absolutely fascinating because he built the biggest monuments in Barcelona.
And a bunch of other stuff that's just used every day as well.
Yeah, well, it's like all the old houses and all the architecture that he built. It's such a big monument for the city. Because if you look at his whole... I almost wanted to say discography, but all his creations, right? Because it's not a discography. Yeah. He did not create music, did he?
We don't know. I mean, he might have.
He might have. We never know. All he created in Barcelona, they're all landmarks. So the whole Barcelona, wherever you turn around, you're like, I'm pretty sure Gaudi made that. I'm pretty sure Gaudi. And if you look at it and you're like, oh, that looks like Gaudi's work, it probably is.
Yeah.
Because he made so much. It's absolutely ridiculous to have such a vast knowledge and to create this absolutely incredible structures. And
he did a lot of it in that one place in Barcelona as well.
He focused on Barcelona because that was his thing. So his sort of architectural style was more of an Art Nouveau sort of form where there's different shapes and it takes inspiration from nature.
Yes.
So it's absolute that was his thing, because he moved away, because you have to imagine this was like towards the end of the sort of Gothic architecture period, because that's when people stopped building just large structures. And you look at the rest of the East Europe in this period, they stopped building in Gothic.
Yeah.
Because around this period they're moving towards closely from 1900s. So as soon as they moved into 1900s, everything gets industrialized and all that. So they moved away from Gothic. They didn't need the big structures with massive towers, but he still built that, but his own little style, which was inspired by nature. And
it's a kind of timeless style, because his stuff looks so different from everybody else's stuff.
Because you look at it and you think, I'm pretty sure somebody in the last 40 years came up with this, right? So you look how the way he used mosaics, basically broken ceramics. Sounds
like a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Ceramics,
I choose you. Okay. He used broken ceramics to make these beautiful mosaics. And so we looked at... So there's a big park there, which...
What's it called? Park Güell?
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Billy.
I remember that because it was a level from Tony Hawk's Underground 2 on the Xbox. Yes.
I mean,
you can do a sick grind over the lizard in Park Güell.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, that's impressive, because it was really bumpy. It looked really bumpy to do anything over that.
You get an achievement.
Do you?
Sorry, I'm just like going full on Tony Hawk nostalgia right now. Give me a second.
That's all right, I'll give you a second. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, you back?
Because it's a high anxiety. No, okay. The soundtrack is good. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so you see his whole style of sort of the broken mosaic. They were literally buying ceramics and then breaking them, and just to make this. It's not like they did reuse some things, but mostly it was just him and his beautiful imagination, which is great to have that sort of brain.
Sorry, I just got this really funny image It's just like, where is the great architect, Master Gaudi? Is he available? Well, he's in the middle of planning right now. I was like, what's he doing? And it's just like him in the center of a room with a bunch of plates, just smashing them up with a hammer. It's like, no, they must be smaller pieces.
I need smaller pieces. There are too many angles in this. Yeah.
They must be smoother. Yeah. How do I smash them smoother?
Cool. So the next thing I want to talk about is about Sangre Familia itself, because I was so deeply impressed. The tour, it's about 45 minutes if you follow the guide. Me and the missus, we stayed there for about 3-4 hours, I think. By the time we finished the museum and we got out, it was like my family went off. They had lunch, they did their own thing, but we were still stuck in there. No, it was so great. And it's, if you ever go to Barcelona and you go visit Sangre Familia, do take the time and take a pair of headphones if you don't want to read, because you can listen to it. But we forgot to take headphones, so we had to read it. But it was great because it was all narrated by my wife's beautiful voice.
Ah,
so it was really nice. We were sitting in a corner and she was reading this out, and I'm like, oh, and then she was saying something else. I'm like, oh, it was great. It was phenomenal. She has a beautiful voice. Well, she should come on the podcast, to be honest. But hey ho, we get there.
I'm just imagining like an app. I've got an app idea, all right? Tech guys who have app suggestions and should put them in the comments. Just like an app that sort of, AI voices your dad and just like, okay, program to read me bedtime story. Boom.
By your dad.
Yeah, nostalgia. Just like you can set nostalgia sells, man. There'll be a ton of people who are like, my dad never read me bedtime stories. I'm really sad. I'm going to pre-program.
So is that just a random dad, or you have to get your dad to record all of that for you?
That is a good question. You don't even have to get him to record it. Just like AI,
Oh,
AI
you hate AI. Do not go there. You can't hate on AI for about 6 episodes and then turn around and say, we can get AI to do it. No, Billy. Bad Billy.
That's fair.
Bad Billy. You can't do that. You can't change your mind. You can still change your mind, actually.
No, you're right. I deserve it.
Before we move into Sangre Familia,
yes.
We're not going to move in because...
Can you imagine buying that place?
Imagine buying that place.
Sorry, I just need an entire GDP of Liechtenstein.
So we'll get to that. We're gonna get to that. I actually don't have actual numbers how much it costs. Well, you probably can find it, but I didn't bother because I don't want to get caught up in that. But I have a few fun facts about Barcelona.
Yeah, go for it.
All the beaches in Barcelona are all artificial.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely every single beach in Barcelona is artificial.
I did not know that. So it's all shipped there.
Yeah, so somebody has to buy sand every year to make that beach again, which
That's
is
a really
great.
nice beach.
Yeah. So we actually didn't end up on a beach at all. We ended up in the aquarium, which is great aquarium. It's not the biggest, it's not the fanciest, but it's really nice. Seen a lot of sharks, a lot of stingrays.
Yeah, manta rays and stingrays.
Yeah, we were looking at them and why did your race have to kill him? He was such a great human. Why did you have to kill him? If anybody thinks who I'm talking about, it's Irwin something.
Steve Irwin, yeah.
Steve Irwin, yeah. Why did they have to kill him? It was
probably because he kept sticking his fingers up crocodiles' bums,
Well, something would have got him at some point. At some point, something would have got him.
It's just the fact that it wasn't a crocodile is the reason it made news.
Yeah, you think if he would have died by a crocodile, it would be
the most expected thing to ever happen happens.
You reckon the headline would have been, "We all expected this."
Kind of.
We're surprised it didn't happen earlier.
Everyone would have still been very, very sad, but it also, it would have been more able. People would, it's like that Joker line, no one panics when things going according to plan.
Yeah,
it was planned for him to die by a crocodile, but he didn't. He died by a stingray, which is just weird.
Well, I think somebody on the internet should be watching all his shows and being like, how many crocodile heads did he touch before he died? Because I'm pretty sure that's a world record. Guinness needs to get on that. That would have been the best thing.
Guinness
world record.
Yeah, but they don't actually keep world records, dude. They're a novelty book company.
Yeah, but they should have him in there.
Yeah, I suppose, but he probably didn't pay them money. You've got to pay money to get in that shit, dude.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Like, most of the people who are in...
So if I just stick like 16 eggs in my mouth, they're not going to just call me up and be
No.
I heard you stick 16 eggs in your mouth.
No, you could do a YouTube video of you like sticking like 85 walruses into your nose or whatever. Like, look, I've got the record for the most walruses in my nose at one time. And they'll say, sorry, we need to send an official observer and you need to pay us like 10 grand.
No.
Yeah. That's how most of them work.
That's horrible, dude.
I know, man.
It works exactly like Michelin. You know Michelin?
Yeah.
You have to pay to to get in the guide.
Yeah.
And then they send somebody over to check you after you pay them a lot of money.
Yeah, like a ratatouille kind of food critics situation.
They usually don't send the rat, but... But they send somebody, yeah.
No, you're misremembering Ratatouille, man. The rat was cooking, the rat was being
I know, but I thought you were implying that Ratatouille, in his career, after he became a famous chef, he became a critic for Michelin.
Why would he not?
I mean, that's the natural progression of his job. He wants to work less. He needs to work less and make more money. That's how life works.
Yeah,
right?
True. I mean, he'd be a great mystery shopper. No one would even notice he was there.
You would notice a rat. You would notice a rat.
They're sneaky buggers. Anyway.
All right.
Back on top.
It's fine. I love this. Another fun fact.
Yeah.
The city has more bomb shelters than parks.
Really?
Yeah.
When did it wasn't even in World War II.
Wait for it. 1,400 bomb shelters in Barcelona. It was because of the Spanish Civil War.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They built that many bomb shelters for that?
It was such a massive thing. They just built so many bomb shelters. And now the most of them are museums or history sites.
Well, that makes sense.
Which is it's a positive and a negative.
I suppose so.
That one surprised me because I'm like, why? Who attacked you during the Second World War? Because they weren't
they were neutral, yeah.
They were neutral. I'm like, why do you have... Well, it wasn't the Second World War. It was their own wars.
Yeah.
The wars they made for themselves.
Well, it is also... Like, the Spanish Civil War was quite famously a place where Hitler and Stalin sent, like, their new planes to test them out. Including Hitler's, like, bombing strategy.
Well, I think when that happened, most countries sent soldiers there and chose a side.
A lot of people were volunteers. They weren't actually...
Yeah, exactly.
They weren't actually sent by the country.
No. You say they were volunteers, but the country had to approve that those people to go there. So they were like, yo, of course you can volunteer. You have to be on this side.
Yeah.
So I don't think they were volunteers, quotation marks, but they've been sent and they're like, you need to fight for these people.
Well, a lot of people definitely volunteered. Famously, George Orwell, you know, of course, like he was one of the the big names. He wrote a book about it. It was a really good book. I suggest reading the book. But but the whole Spanish Civil War thing was a massive clusterfuck, and there was a lot of that was one of the first wars pre-World War, because
it was the big ass war.
It was a big ass war, and it was where they people started perfecting the idea of bombing civilians for no reason, basically to scare the shit out of them.
God, I love wars.
You gotta...
Let's go to something more positive.
Yeah, well, it explains why Barcelona has so many bomb shelters anyway. Yeah. I mean, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Because it was a lot of bombing. And next fun fact, it's the city most famous street, which is called
La Rambla?
Yeah, La Rambla. It's actually 5 streets put together.
Yeah.
It's not just one street. It's 5 streets put together. That one caught me. I looked a long list of fun facts. They weren't fun. So I found this one was fun because it's just 5 streets put together. I actually wrote down all the names. And reading it again, I'm like, I'm not reading that out loud. Because if you just look it up, because I'm not butchering that much stuff in one video. I already butchered enough for today. So we're moving.
That's why I was here, to hear you butcher Spanish pronunciation.
The only one I can say is one of them is called Santa Monica. Because that one's easy to say. The rest of them, you do your own homework. You do your own homework. And now I have also the 4th fun fact, which is a list. Barcelona is the 9th most visited city in the world.
Damn, really?
9th. That's why.
Is London on that list?
Well, would you like to guess? So there's 10 cities here. Would you like to guess which is number 1?
New York.
No.
Which one is it?
I'm not going to tell you. We're playing a game.
Oh, we're guessing.
We're playing a game. This is going to be fun, Billy.
Biggest tourist cities in the world. Oh, fuck.
It will surprise you.
The only thing that would really surprise me is if it's in China.
No, it is not in
It's
China.
not in China.
No, it is not in China.
Paris.
Exactly, that's number one. Yeah. I'm putting there at one because you guessed it. What is number two?
I want to say, okay, right. I want to say London just because it
is on the list,
but it's not number two.
It is number 10. So London is less visited than Barcelona.
I suppose that makes sense. I mean, London's like, most of the time when you visit London, you're going for work. Whereas most people, when they visit London, but if they visit Barcelona, they're not going for work. They're going there to chill.
And usually they go in the summer where it's nice and warm.
Yeah.
All right, so what is number two?
I've got no idea.
Come on, try.
Rome?
Rome. Rome is on the list, and Rome is number 7. Still didn't get number 2.
Beijing. Fuck it.
No, funny enough, I'll do you this favor. There's only one city which is from Asia on this list.
Really?
And it's not in China. No, it isn't Turkey.
It's not. It's Seoul.
Huh?
Seoul?
No.
Singapore?
No. Singapore is not even on the list.
I suppose not. I mean, they literally kill you if you have weed over there.
Okay. Would you like me to give you number 2?
Yeah. Give me the list.
So no, I'm not gonna give you the whole list. I'm playing this game. Okay.
Number 2.
So number 2 is Dubai. It's the second most visited.
Really?
Yeah, it really surprised me as well because it's a really expensive place.
Yeah, only rich assholes can go there.
Yeah, exactly. I've never seen it, so I'm not rich either rich or an asshole. So there you go.
Yeah. I never took a deal to go over there and teach English, so I didn't know about it either.
Number 3, you want to try? Come on, Billy. It's in Spain.
Oh, it's in Spain. Oh, Alicante.
No, it is not an island in Spain.
Oh, no, Alicante's not an island.
Alicante's not an island?
No, Alicante's on the shore. You're thinking of Mallorca.
Yeah, I probably am.
Spain.
Capital of Spain?
Oh, Madrid. Yeah.
So now the only city on the list which is from Asia is Japan, and it's Tokyo.
Oh, I did say Tokyo.
Did you?
Yeah, I said that was my first Asian guess.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. Because Tokyo is a beautiful city if anyone's ever been.
Yeah, we haven't been yet, but we're saving money for the next 7 years so we can go for a week.
It's one of those.
It's gonna cost me an arm and a leg.
It's a really expensive place to be.
Number 5, I'll give you number 5, but you're gonna have to guess number 6. Number 5 means Amsterdam.
That makes sense.
Nobody's surprised.
Yeah.
Weed. You want to guess number 6?
Prague?
No. It is Central Europe.
Oh.
It is a capital.
Not Budapest.
No.
Vienna.
No.
No.
It's within Germany.
Berlin?
Yeah, Berlin is number 6.
Berlin's expensive as well, man.
And then I'll just give you number 8 because I don't want the video to be 6 hours long. Number 6 is New York City.
Oh, I figured it was on there. I mean, it's the American city that everyone actually cares about.
Yeah. Cool, that was fun.
Yeah, I did not know that like Dubai was so heavily visited.
Me neither. Because I thought,
strange.
Who's rich enough to go there?
Not very many people.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to ever go there.
No, fuck that. And I wouldn't want to. You know, I might get fucking enslaved. Who knows?
It would be too hot. No, you're white. You're fine.
Yeah, that's true. But
can't believe I said that.
Oh, sorry, that's right. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not from Bangladesh. They probably would go, "Who's this guy? Well, he's probably too important for us to enslave him. So let's ransom him back to the British government." And then I, wouldn't get ransomed because the British government does not care.
Anyway, moving on. Sangre Familia, right? Because I said we're gonna end up talking about Sangre Familia and how important it is, and how, well, I don't know how important it is for the bigger picture, but how such a great project it is. It's about 120 years now since it got started.
Yeah. So
the first stone was laid in 1882.
Jesus,
that's a very
I thought it was not. I thought it was in the 1890s. I didn't realize it was in the 1880s.
It is in the 1880s. And the first architect he had to pull out because I think he was way too much, and he realized what a ridiculous project this is. And then Gaudi came along and joined the project in 1883.
Really?
So basically a year later after its start. At the time, the only work that was done was the first columns for the Gaudi joined the project in 1883, and at that time the only work that been started was the columns for the crypt.
Ah, right, like the undergroundy.
Yeah, the undergroundy bit. So Gaudi only saw the crypt built in his lifetime. So from 1883 when he started till he died. That's all he saw.
When did he die? What 10 years later or something?
He died in 1926 at the age of 73. So it was such a ridiculous project to start.
Yeah.
Right? So it was such a massive project, and they took so much land to build this one thing.
And it's really important land. It's right in the middle of Barcelona.
It is right in the middle of Barcelona. It's going to be done next year.
Really?
And that's just
finally.
That's just the construction bit. They still have to decorate it for another 5 years from that point.
Jesus.
So it's gonna take a long ass time. We did say we're gonna visit Barcelona again in 5 years' time when it's completely done. Because I thought that would be the moment to see it.
Hell yes.
Yeah. Also go off season again because, dude, so many people in that town.
Oh,
It's ridiculous. And this is off season, and they were like, you still had to push people out of the way. The weather was beautiful. It was like 21 during the day. So you kind of sweat, but don't sweat enough. And then if you're not in the sun, you can chill down and then go in the sun and feel warm.
Yeah.
And you can still sleep during the night. Because I don't know if you ever slept in a Mediterranean country. You can't sleep during the night. It's so hot.
That's true.
So it was great. So it was an opportune moment. So if anybody wants to go visit Barcelona or any Mediterranean city, go towards the beginning of the season.
Yeah, or the end
of the season, because you don't want to catch those massive heats.
Yeah, when I went over there,
it's too many
Christmas. Yeah. Like, it was like it was like the week before Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's December. So everyone, all the Spanish people were like, dressed up in like coats and stuff, and I was walking around in jeans and a t-shirt, and I was like, this is fine, this is lovely. And they're like, oh, he's British. Yeah.
Well, they knew. You can tell.
Yeah, they're just. I was looking up and it's like, wow, it's such a sunny day, and it's only mildly overcast.
Yeah,
I'm just like, this is beautiful to me.
So the basilica itself did get consecrated, which was in 2010.
Really?
So it took so much time for the actual basilica. When we say basilica, we're not talking about the crypt itself. We're talking about the bigger structure altogether. So they finished enough work in 2010 for Pope Benedict. I think it's the 16th.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was the second last pope.
Yeah, the Nazi one.
Yeah, and he proclaimed it a minor basilica. I don't know what that means. Like, I tried to see what a minor basilica is, but it was only small churches. But this was not a small church.
No, it is not a small building. It is a very, very large building, and it's very, very awesome to look at.
So I don't understand what that actual terminology means. If anybody knows, let me know. Because
I'm gonna make a guess, and I might be completely wrong. And if I am wrong, Catholics, please tell me in the comments.
Yeah.
It probably has something to do with the Archbishop of like Spain or something.
So like
if it was a major.
So
like
the guy
basilica.
that is in charge at the moment of the basilica is Joan José the Cardinal Omella, which is it's a mouthful. Yeah, which is the Archbishop of Barcelona. So he's not. I think he's not the Archbishop of Spain. Yeah. I don't know if that's how the Catholic religion spills.
It kind of sort of like, because we have like archbishops over here in the UK, and like
Anglicans though.
I suppose you're right.
So it's like every single religion has their own thing going on.
Yeah,
right?
I'm just wondering if it works similar to over here, where like, okay, the head bishop in the country is the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Okay.
But like, you think it would be the Archbishop of London or whatever, but it's the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Okay.
And I'm thinking maybe in Spain it's like the Archbishop of somewhere else is like the head guy.
Yeah.
So that means the Sagrada Familia can only be like a minor church, because the only major church has to be where the head guy is from. Do you see what I mean?
I get that. Like
I'm doing complicated hand gestures as well to explain to
I can't
people.
wait to start filming. So moving on. So the museum underneath has this replica, right? And shows Gaudi's way of thinking, how he built, how he came up with the idea of the whole basilica. So what he did, he took string, he connected it up in 2 points, and then down he put 2 weights to make sort of an arch kind of thing.
Upside down.
Upside down.
So
right?
Upside down string with like rocks tied to it.
Well, wasn't rocks, was some sort of weights. They looked really well put together. And he did this a lot of times until he got all the shapes and forms that he wanted to actually build it. And in his brilliant mind, flipped that upside down. And that's how he came up with the project.
Which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
Because his vision, looking at it, and you see it upside down, and you see it how it's gonna stand up. It's phenomenal. Like, if you haven't noticed, this video is gonna be with slides. I'm not sure how good the slides are going to be, but you're going to have a slide here.
Just don't take images from Wikipedia. For some reason, they upload only the lowest res images, and I don't know why.
No, don't worry. I'm sorting that out. I'm already having an idea.
Oh, good.
Okay.
This could never go wrong.
So when it's going to be actually completed? At the very end, when it's going to be done, it's going to have 18 towers.
Oof.
18 towers, which is absolutely phenomenal. The whole idea of building so many towers in one building. So the 18 towers, you're like, what's with all 18 towers? Why are there so many towers? It's too many towers. Well, the idea of it, there's 11 apostles. There's 4...
Not including Judas, of course.
Yeah.
There's
4 evangelists. I don't know why you had to mention that.
Because, everyone thinks of the 12 apostles, but one of them was Judas, and you can't build a tower to Judas. You just can't do that.
And there were 4 evangelists, which was...
Wait, Evangelion? Sorry.
No, that's the
not
TV
Evangelion.
show.
Anyway, carry on.
So those were Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which we're going to get back to that in a second. The Virgin Mary and Jesus Christ. Which the tower which is dedicated to Jesus Christ is the tallest one, and the one that they're still working on at the moment because it's so much work.
That's the big central one.
The big central one that is like halfway there at the moment.
Yeah, it's not quite done yet.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal even from the outside. You look at it and you're like, wow.
Yeah, when I went there, it was 2004, 2005. I was not very old. I was like about 13 or something.
Yeah.
But I do remember because you can go to the top of the 4 towers, the 4 evangelist towers. You can go to the top of those. I remember being a twat and being 13. I'd loogied off the side to see how long it would take to hit the ground. About 35 seconds. It's a long way up.
Idiot.
I'm sorry.
I checked. No, we have it on recording now as well.
If you got hit at sometime in December 2004 by a flying loogie, you never knew where it came from.
It's from this idiot.
It's probably me. But when I was there, they hadn't even started on the central tower yet. There was just a big old hole with like some,
It was covered, so it doesn't go in there. Yeah.
It was covered, but it was just like, this is where the next tower is going to be. And I'm like, okay, how are they going to build a thing taller than this? Because this is already so high. Yeah. I can barely see the people on the ground.
Yeah, which is phenomenal, isn't it?
It's astonishingly high.
It's just like you wouldn't think they should be able to. Well, I'm going to get into how they're supporting the main towers and all the columns and stuff in a minute. But because I couldn't be myself without doing this. So the main Jesus Christ, the tower that is dedicated to Jesus Christ, it's 172.5 meters tall. It's going to be finished, which is, if you can't see that number, just in case you can't see the number, it's 61,000 squares. Squirrels, not squares. Squirrels. It's not square squirrels, it's just squirrels. Because I had to get some squirrels in there.
This is squirrels doing the standard squirrel measurement, shoulder, sitting on each other's shoulders.
Yeah.
20 Okay, wow, that's a lot of squirrels.
It is a lot of squirrels. It's like...
I wonder how by volume, if you wanted to fill the no, that's not.
Don't make me look. I'm gonna calculate this. I'm gonna pause this videos right now, and I'm gonna calculate that.
I will turn this podcast around. We are going home, kids.
Oh yeah, definitely. Where we are. So as I said, there were 4 evangelists. Inside, as you go inside of the church, I'm not want to ruin the whole experience of seeing it for yourselves, but I'm just giving you sort of points here and there.
No spoilers on the building. That's
no
like
spoilers on the building.
100-something years old.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, man, there are people that haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it until I went there. I never thought about it until I went there, and now I can't stop thinking about how fucking phenomenal it is.
It's a really nice building,
It's
guys.
a really nice building.
It's worth it.
So you know how I mentioned Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John?
Yes.
So inside, as you go, the 4 columns that are holding the tower which is dedicated to Jesus Christ up, there's these things which they're called telomorphs, which are like icons on the towers themselves, really high up. You can see them, which is an angel, which is for Matthew, a lion, which is for Mark, an ox, which is for Luke, and an eagle, which is for John. So if you go there, I'm not going to tell you exactly where they are. Go look for them. It's phenomenal when you find them. You look at them and you're like, what is that? And then you read about it and you're like, oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. That's one of those things that you have to experience to find them and to be like, oh no, that's so.
It's the kind of thing that takes a deep appreciation of the Bible to really because Gaudi obviously really gave a shit.
He was extremely religious. So his whole life he was a dedicated Christian. His entirety, which is funny because I genuinely think he had autism, because you can't have this sort of your brain to work at that level
without like some sort of massive like handicap in other places.
It's not a handicap, because autism, in my opinion, is not necessarily a handicap. Just because you have fixations on things, it might be considered a handicap, but I don't think it's a handicap. Because your brain is just triggering differently.
Yeah,
that's what
depends on a
is.
lot of things, whether it's a handicap or whether it's something that people just sort of get by with, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he had some, but he was a brilliant man. I mean, I would buy him a pint.
And you probably say, excuse me, I don't drink. I'm going to go and draw more flowers. See how I can build stuff out of them.
So the first sort of things that you see when you walk into the main, well, it's not technically the main entrance, but it's the entrance that the door lets you go in first. You see the absolutely gorgeous stained glass inside.
Oh, yeah.
It's a narratively facade. It's blue and cold tones on one side, and on the other side you get warm morning lights, which that was the fancy wording that I wrote down, but what basically means it's really warm colors on one side and really cold colors on the other side, and depending how the sun is moving at that point, you get all the colors on the floor coming out.
So it's like gamer lighting.
It's not RGB.
It's RGB lighting.
It is not RGB. I did not see any greens in there, okay?
It's an RGB cathedral. Gaudi was a gamer before our time.
He probably was.
Yeah.
His game was actually doing some work.
Yeah.
Not being on their computer and listening to podcasts.
He was just playing City Skylines, bro. Leave him alone.
But it was called Church of Skyline, please.
Yeah, it's Church of Sky. To be fair, I mean, it's the best thing about the Barcelona skyline, that's for sure. Like, the Sagrada Familia is the best thing about the Barcelona skyline.
There's another good building in Barcelona, which is not made by Gaudi, funny enough.
Yes, was that the one that
the Jean Nouvel one?
Yes.
Which is, I can't pronounce his name, but I call it the massive dildo of Barcelona. Because it does look like a dildo.
Very, very different architectural style. I will put it that way.
Very different.
It does look like a dildo, though. He's not wrong.
So the distance between the columns on the sides where you have the beautiful sort of stained glass, it's about 7.5 meters. It's exactly 7.5 meters. Damn. So he designed it exactly. And between the four main columns in the middle, it's about 15 meters in between.
Ooh.
So it's the four main columns. It's holding the tower, which is dedicated to Jesus Christ, which is the one in the middle. He used different sort of rocks and rock types in order for the columns to be held up, because you can't. So the way rock works depends on the density and how it is. It can hold more weight. So they use different rocks for different weights that they're gonna hold down, because otherwise, as I said on this, it's not necessarily a corridor, but it's the longer part of the church. Whereas the 7.5 meters distance between the columns, they could get away with using less dense rocks. And he also moved away from the concept of having the outside pillars holding up the whole structure. Yeah. So you don't have like a typical Gothic building where there's outside pillars that are holding the structure.
Yeah, because that was the thing, like with lots of old school. It's like,
no, that's Gothic. That's basically Gothic. The only way they were able to build up was because on the outside of the building there was massive pillars that was holding the building up.
Think Notre Dame, giant flying buttresses or whatever they're called.
Exactly. So because he didn't want any of that. He's like, we're done. That was so 100 years ago. And I don't want this in my massive basilica. So what he did on the inside and used this and then different density rocks. Because at this point, if you look at the Gothic style, which started about 400 or 500 years before, they didn't look at what rocks they're using. They knew this rocks can hold weight, but they didn't think about it, and they didn't have the methods to calculate how much weight can this rocks hold.
I mean, they didn't really have advanced mathematics back then.
What they did, like, kind of, you can't say that. Like, they did have advanced mathematics. If you look at Leonardo da Vinci, the most advanced mathematician in the world.
True.
And, okay, but the idea is they didn't think about the density of the rock and how much weight it can hold.
Yeah.
And then he had more knowledge of this sort of things because other people did things, probably built stuff, fell down. They were like, we shouldn't use those rocks.
Yeah.
And then he went around and said, okay, cool. So this was the study was on actual things. So they decided to do different sort of rock densities. So that's why if you go in the columns, the 4 columns, they're a sort of a reddish color. Because I need to find where I wrote that down, what they're made out. Anyway, the dark gray are so yeah, there it is. I love it how I'm like, I can't find it, and it's right there. So the 4 columns are reddish and made out of can't read that.
Oh God, what is it? Is
it's spelled right. I want you to tell me how this is sounding.
Okay.
It's spelled PORPHYRY.
Porphyry?
Porphyry?
Show me the word. Like show me the actual physical word, and I'm gonna try.
I know, right?
Wait.
Where it says
Porphyry.
Okay, cool.
Porphyry, the king of Game of whatever.
That might come out. That might come out. That part might come out.
That's fair.
The dark gray are basalt, and the light gray are granite. So they all have different densities, and they can hold different sort of weights. So that's how they made it. Also, it was a play on colors. It just worked out. It's great because there, when you go also in for the first time, you just notice there's almost no statues anywhere. There, it's very simplistic in there because he went on the idea of Disney to look like a forest. So everything comes up as a forest, and as the columns finish, I'm like using gestures. Nobody sees this.
he's raising his hands up into the air and making a spreading motion.
Yeah. So as the columns finish, it's like tree trunks. Everything looks like tree trunks, which is phenomenal because it looks like a big open forest, and you walk in and there's nothing to distract you from except for the tourists, which are really annoying, and they just walk around like idiots.
And there's just children running everywhere, and we're
not going.
Teenagers running up to the top and spitting on, off the edge.
Billy.
But that's one of the things I remember the most from when I first went there was just like you see the base of the column, and it looks like almost a standard column for a second, and you realize it's twisting. Yeah, it's like twisting in this very beautiful mathematical kind of way.
Yeah,
and as it looks like it's just a carved tree. Yeah, it looks like kind of an old twisted kind of tree, and then as it gets higher and higher, the more tree-like it looks. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a sensational building.
No, it's an absolute, like, I'm not doing it any justice, to be completely honest. I'm talking it up a little bit, but if anybody has the chance to go see it, go see it.
It's unique.
It's beyond, like, take the time, get a guide, go and see everything by yourselves, and take so much time. Like, bring a snack. It takes so much, but it's so beautiful and it's so incredible. I didn't even talk about the facade because that's a completely different thing. Because it has three facades, which is the birth, the death, and the glory. Which the glory of Jesus Christ is not even built yet.
Really?
Because it didn't. They're almost there. It's not finished yet. But it's like, and it's made by different artists and it's sculpted in different ways. And when you go and you listen to the guide and you look at everything that's happening, and the guide explains to you what actually happens in those images, it kind of hits you. Like, I'm not religious, but it hit me a certain way where, like, I almost got goosebumps.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There's some
it's something about art, right? It's not religion, but it's about art, and you see the different artists putting their whole passion into that and doing it in a certain way. It hit me. Like, I'm like, oh, goosebumps. And every time I read it, and like, you have to see it. I don't want to go into too much detail because we don't have any more time.
It's one of the most colorful and unique, and like, there's so many, like, if we were going to try and list all the features of the Sagrada Familia and what they mean, we would be here literally until the end of time, and there would be no point. So I know you've got more on your list. Tell me what else you wanted to say, Andrei.
So we talked about the outside, the faces. We went a little bit into columns, a little bit in the towers. I think the rest of it, it's just, you have to go experience it, because it doesn't matter how much stuff I can tell you. I can read you a whole script and just keep on going about my script, but there's no point. Probably Voice of Reason, she's gonna be like, but you didn't mention this and you didn't mention that. I know, it's way too much. overly ambitious. There's another thing that I wanted to speak about.
This is interesting.
Another movement that's happening in Spain now. Well, specifically in Barcelona. It's not just Barcelona. It's also in Mallorca. The same sort of movement is happening.
Really?
There are too many tourists.
Yeah.
And the Spanish people are starting to have enough of it, which I understand, because if you look at it, it's housing cost is going back, environmental degradation is going on. Because like I seen this one thing, I've found it fascinating. This old lad was sort of chasing tourists to recycle.
Yeah.
Because people are dickheads and they can't read the actual labels on the rubbish bins, and he was just there in this massive market, and he was just cleaning after tourists, and I felt a little bit shit, and I actually took the time and looked for the rubbish in the right bin because I felt bad, because I know I was a tourist. I might have put it in the wrong bin, right? And overcrowding, it's a massive thing, right? The things that happen, right, when you become we get so many tourists, all the prices go up. And if you're a local, your prices already just went up, but your minimum wage is still the same. You can't live there. All of a sudden, you can't buy another house in your own city. Yeah. Because companies come up and just buy everybody's houses, and they turn them into Airbnbs and stuff. So automatically, all the prices, because, supply and demand.
Which should be illegal. They should not be allowed to do that, frankly.
Well, good thing is, from the articles and what I've read briefly read on the subject, is they are looking into banning that in 2026. Not the fact that you can't make your house into Airbnb, but you as a company, you can't do that.
Which is the problem, because those guys will swoop in and just buy up.
Listen, I feel like if you inherited the flat from your nan,
yeah,
and you want to make some money off the flat from your nanny, but you don't want to sell it because it was your nan's, turn it into an Airbnb. But you're from Barcelona, you live there, that's your town, and you chose to do that.
Yeah.
If you're a multinational company that buys flats and houses and makes them into Airbnbs, that's not okay.
No, it should be.
Yeah, because if it helps you as a Barcelonian.
Yeah, Barcelona, Catalonian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If it helps you and helps everybody around you, that's fine. If it starts not helping anybody around you, that's when you should start considering. And they had a whole bunch of protests. They did disturb the whole of the main street, the La Rambla. The Rambla. They disturbed it a few times with protests, which it's fair enough. They live there. They're allowed to do that. And, but at the same time, we want to see your city.
Yeah.
Let us see your city.
This is like one of those BBC travel advisory warnings. It's like, to be fair, if you're English, you're used to this, because everywhere you go, everyone hates you. But
they have a point.
Because most of the time when British tourists show up in a place, there's one reason they're there. It's for a stag do, and it's to fuck up your entire town.
Yeah.
And that's basically true anywhere in Europe.
Pretty much.
One of the things that I had to get over when I was traveling around Europe is like people like noticing that I was British as soon as I opened my mouth, and then just looking over my shoulder subtly for like a guy with like a naked woman tied to his head,
or dressed as a chicken,
or dressed as a fucking chicken riding a dead clown, whatever. They're looking for my friends to see, okay, is this guy like testing us out to see if like he can buy booze here before they brings in the rest of his mates to fuck up my day. And quite a few times I sort of had to learn the sort of rough gestures, like, oh no, it's just me by myself, I'm just traveling, I'm not with a party, don't worry about it. And eventually they sort of chill out, and they're like, okay, just don't do anything British, and then
don't be British.
Just be less British here.
But as I said, the government's trying to fix these problems, and hopefully they are.
Imagine that. Imagine a government trying to fix problems.
Imagine that. We were actually talking about this 2 nights ago in a pub, and I said, in my opinion, they have a city tax. I think it was €1 per night. So between me and the missus, we paid 14 euros.
Yeah.
Altogether. I think they should put that up. It would affect me next time I go there, but how often are you going to Barcelona as a tourist?
Yeah.
Not that often. I would think it should be at least 250, even a ridiculous €4.
Yeah.
Because then you can take that money that you just made off that tourist tax, I think it's called the tourist tax, and then reinvest it in your infrastructure. Make every Barcelonian's bills a lot cheaper, as in cutting things like council tax and stuff like that, and then automatically they will not be that angry about having a massive amount of tourists. Because if you think about it, if you have, let's say, in a month, 10 million tourists coming through your town, right? That's what's 10 million times 4.
That's 40 million.
40 million.
Yeah,
that would be just
lot.
40 million in a single month, because you can do a lot of things with 40 million.
On a city level, yeah.
On a city level. And it's things like this that I think their governments should consider. And yeah, okay, it's not okay for so many people to go in there. And if you go there, don't be a dick. Because nobody likes people being dicks.
If you're be a traveler, not a tourist. Okay,
pretty much.
You know, don't wander around. Wander around and look at all the cool shit. Don't be a massive dickhead and assume everything works the same way as in your country, because it does not.
It doesn't. No, you can't.
It just doesn't.
And to be honest, that's the only country I drank lager in, and I wasn't upset.
Really?
Yeah, the lager was really good. So
that's impressive.
It tasted really good, and I drank Estrella before in the UK, and it's absolute dog shit. I wouldn't give that to my enemies.
There's one pub around here that used to do the proper Spanish Estrella, and it was great. But now
the Galicia.
The Galicia.
It was phenomenal. It was so good.
It's really nice.
It was so easy drinking. And please, can we have that in kegs? Well, just let's wrap it up, because it's been a long time.
Yes, let's wrap it up. So it's a thoroughly strong review for Barcelona for you. What would you rate as a tourist destination, as a place to go where you can't be a dick even if you're a tourist?
Genuinely, there's other things that I disliked that I don't want to say them out loud. So it has to go at 7.
A 7?
At 7.
That's a good strong.
I mean, I will go back in 5 years' time, but I wouldn't rush back.
Right.
You know, like I want to see the Sagrada Familia finished, but until then, there's no rush for me to go back.
Yeah, I kind of said the same thing the first time I went there as well.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to come back when this is finished.
Yeah.
I was 13 then.
Which was a long time
ago. Long-ass time ago. George Bush was still president.
Imagine that.
I can remember it was bad. It's not as bad as now, but it was bad.
You had to make a political decision.
I did. Yeah. I did. Well, I have no restraint.
On that bombshell, fucking unmask, and thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Remember to like and comment and subscribe and do all that stuff. Like, a lot of people in our own life who listen to this have come up and asked us, like, oh, hey, you actually got this wrong. Really? You should have told us in the comments.
Yeah.
Give us some, at least we can get traction for being wrong.
Yeah.
Everyone know that's the only way to make money on the internet is to be professionally wrong. Exactly. So please point out where we're wrong.
Like, subscribe, and comment, right?
Yeah, like, subscribe, and comment, and tell us that we're wrong about everything.
Yeah. Bye.
Adios, guys. This has been the Billy and Andrei Show, and we will see you next time.
I should have figured